Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Derek. We're both experienced founders and CEOs of B2B SaaS companies, and now we're your hosts.
In today's world, getting accurate information about B2B SaaS products is tough. User review sites are manipulated, and research reports are often wildly inaccurate or paid for. That's why we're here, to bring you information that no one else does.
We go straight to the software companies themselves to break down their products, show you a demo, and give you our honest opinions. Whether you're a software buyer, investor, or user, this podcast is for you.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Talk SaaSy to Me. Today, we've got founder and CEO of Abacum, and Julio, thanks so much for joining. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Abacum.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a blast to be here. Hey, I'm Julio Martinez, born and raised in Barcelona, Spain. Now living in New York with my patient wife and my 3 children. So this is in a nutshell me. Look, overall, all of my career in finance. So I spent a lot of time in both investment banking and advisory roles, but also operational roles, bleeding in the head when it came to, doing budgets and forecasts and scenario planning and so on. I had the opportunity to redeem myself and transition into technology a number of years ago when I started building fintech products from scratch and launching them to market. I did 4 successful ventures there, and in that, during those times, I really realized, hey, the financial planning and analysis space, these days also known as strategic finance, represents a massive opportunity to really multiply the impact that finance teams have in their organizations. So, long story short, I decided to launch the business together with my amazing co-founder, George, and here we are today. Happy to double click in any part that you want, but really, just coming from finance, trying to solve finance problems through software.
That's great. And so, maybe roughly tell the audience so they can validate kind of your guys' success, how long you've been around and any metrics you're willing to share, if it's customers or, growth rate or just something like that to validate that, yes, you are a sizable company and this isn't, you're not on your first customer.
Yeah, 100%. So we started over 5 years ago and launched the business. We've got amazing investors. We went through Y Combinator back in the day. We also have Atomico, Creandum, HFGA Labs, and amazing angel investors like Jenny, CFO at MailChimp, and later on Xavier, CEO and former CFO at ADN, and so other amazing people that really validated early on the opportunity. Of course, it's more, we do more than raising money and having great angels. So we have over 250 customers active in the platform, and we really focus on mid-market companies. Our growth rate, we are a VC-backed company, as I mentioned, so obviously we have a healthy pressure to grow as fast as you can. We've gone from, over 7 times year on year, earlier days, of course, to over 2.5 times. So 2.5 north of that, actually goes to 3 last year.
Awesome. And middle market, that certainly helps to segment kind of where you guys are. Obviously, there's a lot of budgeting and planning tools or CPM tools or EPM tools, whatever you want to call them these days. So, but there's different sizes, different regions, different reasons to go with different tools. But on that same vein, so tell us what high-level functions Abacum includes.
Yeah. You guys are the experts here, right? So double click on anything you want because everything is very nuanced when it comes to FP&A, as you said, company sizes, industry. So, but overall, what we do first, we bring all the metrics that matter in one place in real time. We are very vocal about having all the operational KPIs that drive the business in the FP&A platform. so that we are not longer just an FP&A tool, but actually a business solution. So having all the metrics that matter, both operational KPIs and financials, is critical. So we will integrate with NetSuite or Intact or QuickBooks or Exact or whatever to have your accounting data in place. But hey, it's critical that you integrate then with Salesforce and HubSpot or whatever, CRM, Looker, Tableau, your BI solution of choice, the underlying data warehouse, BigQuery, Snowflake. You also want to have your HRIS data into the platform. So you can have all your financial reporting, but more importantly, your revenue planning, your headcount planning, your, all these other use cases that really drive the business. So all the metrics that matter in one place automatically in real time. And then I would highlight there the classic use cases, having complex, sophisticated revenue models, having headcount planning that is widely spread across the company, OpEx planning as well. These are the classic use cases that we drive. I would say that we do that in a way that we are very flexible. So for instance, in our customer base, we have from fintech businesses that are regulated with banking licenses in several markets. For instance, we work with Iburi. This is 1,800 employees present in 20 markets. They do FX and they are regulated, heavily regulated. Actually, half of the company belongs to Santander Group, which is a bank. We work with Lunar Bank, a banking license in 5 markets. We work with Banking Circle, 1,000 employees present in, I think they have 5 banking licenses as well in 5 different markets. So they do all the planning, the reporting, and the compliance. Like imagine forecasting at the equity level, forecasting balance sheet. So it's all that sophistication in the platform. We also work with private equity-backed companies with very heavy reporting responsibilities, mobility companies. So it's not, pure B2B SaaS businesses that we tackle. Of course, we do that, and we have templates because, they are on the easier side to model. But our platform, our modeling engine is multidimensional, and it works at performance. So really proud of the flexibility and scalability we've built into the platform.
That's great, Julio. And when you started the business, what was it, the opportunity that you saw? You mentioned a big need in that space. What was it specifically that drove you to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Derek. Thank you so much. It was a combination of 2 things. One, hey, I wanted to start a company, right? I had launched 4 fintech products to market, but and some. It was a venture builder, so I launched 4 fintech products to market that were successful. Many others that we don't talk about those, right? That are under a carpet, something that fell miserable. But I identified this opportunity as something that it could become my mission. It was very important to me. So having spent so many years in finance, bleeding in the head, working with FP&A teams, M&A teams, corporate finance teams, and realizing, well, this is really broken. Like I was on the receiving end, right? So I was that guy in the trenches, like falling short and not being able to use properly, and struggling with the spreadsheets or with some other legacy solution. So something that I experienced myself made me think, well, I'm opinionated about this product now. Like I think I've gathered enough experiences after 16 years working in finance and 4 years working in fintech to build something differential. So I think something important here is when you start a company and you've done that, it's something that resonates with you, right? I used to be a finance nerd and that was important to me. More strategically speaking, the FP&A space or the CPM space, ETM space, I don't care. Back in the day, a number of solutions proliferated afterwards, but back in the day, like really it was legacy systems, mostly. And still, those are the main players. Still, if you look at their market share and the new entrance market share, like we are dwarfs, right, in that ecosystem still. So, and then when I was looking at, hey, Planful, previously called, they rebranded and remarketed a little bit, but they are host analytics under the hood, right? This is 2001 software, 2001. Adaptive, like this is 2003 software. Like some of these guys that are over 20, like pre-iPhone, pre-AWS, this is the experience they deliver, right? And if you've used them, they are not collaborative. They're difficult to implement. very difficult to be self-serve. So all the pains that we know about legacy software. So really, really believed, yeah, we can definitely do something 10 times better, at least, like full of conviction, right? And this is what we did.
And what I think is really interesting, especially as you start to talk about some of the competitors out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that stood out to us about Abacum and what we want to kind of drill deeper on is, I'll try not to get too technical, but to me, your back end is a data warehouse. You're able to pull data from a myriad of sources. Traditional planning and budgeting or EPM, CPM tools are going to pull your GL or trial balance from your accounting software. Some of them are going to tell you they can pull data from other sources like a Salesforce or an HRIS, but they're not built for that. Their backbone is a chart of accounts. And if that data doesn't align with the chart of accounts, you're not going to really be able to work with it very efficiently. So tell us a bit about your guys' ability. And you alluded to it already when you said operational data, but tell us how obviously you integrate to a ton of sources. Let's talk about some of those variety of sources in addition to financial systems. But then tell us about how that data lives as data sets, and then how you can use that as models to build planning for areas other than areas that are operational.
This is the geese, right? So this is the crux of the technical layer that you need to build to be successful in this market. So following a little bit your train of thought during the question. So legacy players, they say they integrate with operational KPI data sources. We know it's barely true. So they promise that in sales processes, they say that, but then we have a lot of customers in our customer base that come from failed implementations, not on the financial reporting. They are okay on financial reporting, right? That was
of course
the norm in 2001 and 2003. They are excellent for that. So if this is what you need, that's great. But very few people have built the full revenue model in Adaptive or Planful or some of those guys, integrated live with the opportunities living and moving in Salesforce, for instance, right? And even more importantly, very few people is actually able to expose that to the VP sales, CRO, VP marketing, and again, gather input to update your forecast, to reforecast, to drive this business partnering. Those guys simply cannot do that, right? They have other things, right? So I'm not here to bash competition on anything, but this is very clearly some of the limitations that they face. So from the onset, what we really wanted to get was two things: operational KPIs into the platform, and then collaboration. Structured collaborative workflows to drive that business partnering, to make of business partnering a reality. I can double click on how we do that exactly in the product. When it came to operational KPIs, well, you know the drill, right? So you can build native, you can use middle third parties. We decided to go native with most of them. For most of them, we still, the vast majority of integrations we have are native. And obviously you improve your integration coverage and the depth of your integration coverage over time as you continue investing. But it's very important, in my opinion, that you build those integrated, those native API connections. NetSuite very well. Like, we have people, it's complex, Salesforce, it's complex. Like, getting that right, it's like safe searches and like, it's not a walk in the park. And we've seen competitors that didn't build native connections, or for whatever reasons, their connections don't seem to be that deep. And then we have customers coming to us, like with these stories of, I've been 3 months, I've been 6 months trying to integrate my NetSuite instance, still not working, which is mind-blowing to us. But obviously we went through that desert back in the day, like some years ago, like probably, and solved it. So good connectivity is very important. Like, you need to make sure the provider has made the homework and really invested in native API connections beyond beyond somebody saying that in the sales process. Sometimes what we do is, expose me your API, give me the credentials. I'll do that. It takes me 30 minutes, for God's sakes. You see the data flowing in the platform. It's fine. You can validate that. Then when it came to data sets, so then that in the Abacum platform all becomes data sets of different types. What matters here more than the data set structure, which is okay, right? So there are some problems that you can solve in data sets, and we clean data at the data set level through a no-code ETL build for finance teams. That it's important to clean that data at the data set level. But it's very important then the multidimensional modeling engine. So that's a differential. So it's not only the data warehouse that you are, it's way more important to have the dimensional modeling to work at performance. This is very expensive to build. This is when people take shortcuts, right? You see some compare no, it's very templated, it's off the shelf, is this, that. Having a lot of flexibility in your modeling engine at the dimensional level, it's difficult to build, and we've conquered that summit, right? So it took obviously a while, again, some years ago, but our customers are really benefiting, and that's why we can accommodate very diverse business plans and business models with a lot of complexity into them.
So I want to bring this to a real life example, kind of some of what you said, to see if it makes sense. And a good example, you mentioned revenue planning. So let's say we're a software company for simplicity purposes, and we're building our revenue forecast, and we have two primary things we need to do. One, we need to forecast new sales, and two, we need to forecast renewals. So from a new sales perspective, we obviously want to pull in what's from Salesforce at a contract level, and renewals, we may have that in our billing software or accounting software, and we'll have to think about churn. Am I able to do that on a contract by contract level, or is it more at an assumption level? What does that look like?
So when you can do both, right? So you can do driver-based forecasting, budgeting in the Abacum platform. But I think your question goes more, can you do that at the contract level, at the opportunity level? 100%. Like our customers, when they want to do bottom up, they are going to be mixing information coming from Salesforce. Sometimes renewals are also in Salesforce, right? But sometimes they are not. So you're gonna get the objects from Salesforce or HubSpot, whatever, Pipedrive. You will also get them from the accounting data, and then you can model at the contract level. This is more important for our enterprise customers, of course. So oftentimes they do a mix of them, right? So these type of companies where 25, 50 contracts represent 80% of their revenue, right? Yeah, they want to forecast that at the contract by contract level. So they're going to do that with precisely what they think, and then they are going to ping in the platform, hey, Josh, account executive, hey, Derek, account executive, what do you see? What's the percentage? And then, or you can borrow the percentage from Salesforce. And then the 20% remaining, they're going to use a driver. If it's the long tail of contracts, you don't care so much going individually. So for that long tail, you will use a driver. So you can effectively do both. By the way, that also applies to OpEx forecasting. So if you want to forecast at the vendor level, you can also do that.
And what's important here is, again, in the CPM, EPM, budgeting planning space, whatever you call it, there's over 200 vendors. Some for small companies, mid and enterprise for sure. But as a software buyer, you really have to look at who's pulling in what level of granularity. So for the audience, basically what that means is a lot of tools are going to tell you, we bring in transaction level detail from your accounting system. So if you want to drill down and understand what made up, using the same example, ARR this month, I can drill down and see the transactions I posted. But what Julio is talking about is different. I'm not just using my transaction level detail or operational data to drill through a report for analysis. I'm able to use that to build a model for planning purposes. And that's a totally different ball game, puts it closer to a BI tool in some ways, but is really, really beneficial. So that's a key differentiator that I just want to point out when you're saying that.
George, thank you so much. That illustration is amazing. We, of course, bring all the transactional detail, and then for actuals, you can drill through, drill down. That's fine. As you said, that's more probably table stakes. Our differentiation in the market is really this powerful engine, to model.
That's great, Julio. So talk about some of these use cases are pretty tricky to determine, I'm sure, and the model itself, designing the model. I'm sure a lot of businesses that you work with, some of them have internal people that have an idea, and others probably know the concept that they want to go for, but don't really have an idea of how to pull that all together. So what does it take to get this implemented, and who kind of leads the charge on that?
100%. We have an in-house implementation team that does the job, right? So there is no... I feel it's also something we feel very proud about. And hey, if you go to G2, like you will see that we not only have the best, the most stars in the category, but also, when it comes to implementation and support, we are also ranked as the best. And in my mind, it's critical for our strategy as well, because I want to build software, but also I'm in charge of delivering the software. So I control the end-to-end experience too from our customers. You know how it is. Some folks out there will be more tech savvy and more sophisticated when it comes to systems, and it's a blessing to work with them because they are up and running in 2-3 weeks, and it's excellent. Some others, we need to take a heavier lift. And that's reflected also in our negotiation of the hours that we'll need to devote to each implementation. But when you operate in the mid-market, if you are down, so if you are in enterprise 100%, you will use actually third parties, you will use different things. So that's a must. If you are down market, probably there is a good argument to try to be self-serve, right? And then you have some place there that they are trying to be self-serve, and probably, more PLG motion. And that can be actually interesting. I'm not sure how much different that's from Google Sheets and Excel, and a good combination of both. But still, if you are one of this new spreadsheet generation type of thing, it can be cool to try to be self-serve. To be honest, that doesn't fly in the mid-market. The model is so complex and the platform needs to be so rich that, we rather invest a little bit in their success and make sure they're up and running on average 4 weeks.
Yeah, on average in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Average on our customer base is 4 weeks, 6 weeks for sure.
Yeah,
that's guaranteed.
And like you say, in the mid-market, there's a lot of, it's an interesting space because clients have high expectations on what they want. They're getting into more complex models, and yet they don't have an internal team or knowledge in many cases to actually deliver their own solution on that. And so it requires a very intelligent implementation team to be able to foresee what it is they're actually looking for and deliver that. So that's interesting. How does that compare with other vendors in the space that you've seen in terms of their approach to implementing?
So that's an important differentiation. So first of all, Derek, I know you're talking from experience here and from, so really.
Derek's only done one implementation in his life, Honestly, actually, Derek and I joked once before. I mean, Derek, you've probably implemented, I don't know, is it 1,000 companies at this point?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
It's amazing you have hair left.
I know.
Yeah. and look, you're still standing. So it's a complex business. You're totally right. So to answer your questions, a couple of things. Yes, the mid-market is a unique beast. It's a unique beast, right? Because I'm not sure if I can say that, but some of them, they think they are enterprises, right? And so there is this disconnect of, but anyway, of overcomplicating and so you really need to nail a process and a team that can really make it work. Because look, my in-house, a couple of reflections. My implementation team is in-house. Why is that? Because I want to control the experience and I want to be 100% aligned with my customers. so far, I'm able to make it work with the gross margins that I need to deliver to my investors, which is the magic, right? Obviously, I need to be at, we are at about 84%. We are above 84% gross margins, right? I need to protect that. I'm a SaaS business, of SaaS more than I do. So I need to be way above 80% to be sustainable and all that stuff that people love to see. How do you do that with an in-house implementation team? Well, this is the craft of building companies in different ways and getting creative and having people in different places and still succeeding at delivering the quality you want to deliver and having like very happy customers very fast onboarded into the platform and going and investing in that velocity. So therefore, of course, you need to have templates. You have to have automation for onboarding. You have to build tools for the implementation team. We are also working with some partners, right? So we are also working with some partners and we are opening up the channel. But this is one of the key differentiations, I think, from us and other competitors where I don't think they focus so much on understanding or protecting the overall experience from customers. Like enterprise customers get it, right? They understand, you're going to build the software, but somebody else is going to implement. And many companies that I talk to in the mid-market, they are not so used to those setups. And like the fact that they look at me in the eye and, hey, Julio, you build the software, you deliver the software, my friend. If I have a problem, I know who I'm going to choke. That's compelling for some of them. But of course, like we it's not the only model that we follow, but I always like to emphasize sometimes that philosophy. So that's why with the partners we work with, we have a very intimate relationship. So that the experience, and they are also very well equipped to deliver the same level of experience. Like we don't open the channel like crazy. Yeah, everybody come in. It needs to be done in a different way.
And maybe to follow up on what Derek said, so when we talk about implementation, out of the two-part question, the first part is, out of the box, are there pre-built models, maybe like a personnel planning model or an OpEx planning model? And then the second part is, if there are or aren't, ultimately, if I'm on the FP&A team as a customer, am I able to build my own planning models, or am I going back to the implementation team for support or help on that?
That's a good question. Let's start with the first one. Yeah, there are templates in the platform. Yeah, there are templates. They are useful. I'm always very open and transparent. Are they super useful? I don't feel they are. Precisely because we cover different industries, different company sizes, different, like, templates are so rigid. When we see competitors work with templates, they really face issues. Because even in a simple B2B SaaS business like us, right? We are a plain B2B SaaS business. Like, we cannot get easier than us, right? Or a B2B SaaS business when you compare that with other complex industries, right? Like manufacturing, or like when you get into real modeling, that's very different from your ARR model or sales capacity model. That's super easy to do. Like, even if I do that and I have templates for that, yeah, like people define variables in very different ways. Like, nobody defines CAC in the same way. Like renewals, like different systems, like everybody wants their details there. So yeah, I have a template. Yeah, that accelerates my time to value in a way, but I also need to review definition by definition. So that's for our customers in the mid-market. I think templates are useful. It's not the holy grail, to be honest, right? Like they have enough sophistication to need, customizable modeling. To your second question, yeah, 100%. So our customers model in the platform day in, day out. Like, this is the beauty of it. Just our value proposition is that we are the most scalable platform, FP&A platform focused on companies in the mid-market. And that means that we are very flexible and at the same time very easy to use. So our customers are self-serve in the platform after 4 weeks implementation. We do implementation in a way that it's co-built, so they get trained at the same time in the platform, and like they are up and running. They model in the platform, they pull data, they manage data. This is of essence. Companies in the mid-market don't have the time they don't have the budget to hire somebody to manage the system, like you see in Salesforce or Anaplan or some others. They probably don't have the budget to, the model will change every 3 months, every 6 months maximum. So are you going to call the consultant again to but at the enterprise, that makes sense. For the budgets my customers manage, unfortunately, that doesn't fly so fast.
Makes sense. And it's, I think Derek and I have talked about on this podcast before, but anything pre-built in kind of like the reporting or planning analytics space, to me, is most enjoyed by the software salespeople. Second most enjoyed by the buyer because they see it as an accelerator. But the reality is there's no one size fits all. So I appreciate your honesty there. And pre-built metrics, for small businesses, they may work fine. But for mid-market up, you got to customize those things, right? Everyone looks at ARR different, CAC different, you mentioned it, and so forth and so on. There's no one size fits all. If it's okay, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about reporting functionality in the platform, because we talked a bit about planning. So tell us a bit about reporting, and let me give a little context. There's obviously a lot of reporting tools out there. Some are drag and drop in Excel, some are drag and drop, web-based. But tell us a little bit about a day in a life if I'm going to build a brand new report. Maybe it's a P&L where I want to have it be a bit more of a management reporting style where I'm grouping GL accounts and giving it headings and titles, calculating EBITDA. Tell us a little bit about how that works.
Let me take a step back and I'll tackle your question. Because it's our philosophy about reporting in the product that is very important. So as I said, we come from finance, and I'm actually a product guy, right? And Abacum has had this aura of a very innovative player into the space. And that means that our approach to product, we wanted to have a notebook as our vehicle of reporting and communication. So, for instance, when we started building the product over 5 years ago, we realized, well, guess what? Data science teams have solved this problem a long time ago, in 2015 at least, when they released Jupyter Notebooks and others. So folks out there have solved the problem of reporting and collaborating around massive volumes of data in the past. So what are we doing here if we want to do another pretty dashboard? Like, in my mind, that dashboards are dead, right? So if you look at what has happened in the data science space, so we wanted to be a bit more provocative. No worries, we have dashboards, so they are not actually dead, and I use them every day. But still, the philosophy needed to be a bit different. So maybe you know Notion, but Notion is a notebook. There are many others. So basically, our reports are spaces, multimedia spaces, where you can include text, you can include callouts, you can include tables and graphs, you can tag people, assign tasks, you can include a video, a G-Slides presentation, a Google Sheets actually, everything embedded in the same space. Pictures, like you can embed anything you want really in there to drive that collaboration. Of course, most of what we see is the metric cards that you see in a dashboard and the tables and the graphs, but there is a lot of more richness that you can embed into the product, and is heavily used by our customers. So this is first the philosophy about reporting. Also, when it comes to reporting, to us it's important, how do you provide context around data, and how do you collaborate around data? This is a big differentiation from a BI solution. BI solutions are amazing, but for many purposes in the organization. But when it comes to collaborating, obviously not planning, because you don't plan in a BI, but collaborating in a BI solution is more difficult, and you end up sending screenshots in a Slack, probably. So, like, driving that collaboration within the reports has also been very important for us. Also happy to talk about collaborative workflows, because the concept of workflow is very important for us when it comes to product. But yeah, happy to touch on that later.
And that's great. And we're excited to see all that in the demo. I guess just go back to the original question though. So like, can I build a management style P&L where I group GL accounts and whatnot in the tool?
Yeah, 100%. So you can build that together with, so in the same table, in the same graph, you can bring your GL with different accounts, but also information from other data sources, right, in the same place.
Gotcha.
And then you connect that with variables, and you can do easily that.
Can you, in a report, create a formula that pulls data from multiple data sources? So, for example, could I pull a number from Salesforce, a number from my financial software like a NetSuite, and create a single formula?
Yes. You wouldn't do that in, strictly speaking, in the report, because we leave reports for reporting. You would do that in the model, which is, maybe I'm getting a bit too technical. It's basically the same thing, just that it's underneath. So, but yeah, we do that all the time, right? This is what you need to generate your revenue plan. So you need to use your Salesforce data, whatever you need, and then, mix everything in the same formula.
Looking ahead, Julio, what do you see as the big risks facing the business moving forward?
So we've always been very ambitious in investing in the product a lot. And we have underinvested maybe in some other functions like go-to-market. And this is to say that looking into the future, like I'm coming out of 4 meetings very recently, and sustaining that level of investment in the product, because you want to win in the category. And actually, we are growing in the mid-market. We are acknowledged to be like this purpose-based solution for the mid-market that really gets it and does it very well, right? And it's not feature-heavy like enterprise softwares. It doesn't fall short like SMB softwares. Like we are really killing and getting that velocity. But we really need to continue sustaining all these product investments. And this is my co-founders and my personal bet. Doing that at the same time than scaling the go-to-market function. We are hiring left and right in sales, fundamentally, but also within marketing, across the US, London, fundamentally. I think we are facing the biggest risk is execution for us. Doing all that combined together, hiring the right leadership, hiring the right people for the business, keeping our culture standards, like our culture of intensity. That is what I anticipate a big challenge. I wouldn't even say competition. Obviously, it's a competitive space, but hey, like corporate spending, corporate cards, and like there is a lot of competitive software in the office of the CFO, and a lot of people did very well. The market is big. I feel the market is very big. So it's mostly getting in place what we need to do well. Other than that, the market is in a strong position today. This is not longer what we saw maybe 18 months ago, 2 years ago. Like CFOs are back in business, they are buying software. So like I think we definitely see that momentum. Actually, Q2 was a record-breaking quarter for the company. So like we're feeling there is momentum in the market.
Awesome. And then maybe the other side of that question is, what's on the roadmap? What's next?
And product, huh? Or
Sure.
company-wise?
Yeah, product.
Okay. Yeah, that's very exciting. So we have amazing releases. Look, it's more incremental at this point because we have all the functionality. So for us, for instance, we've gone now very big on headcount planning. We already had customers doing headcount planning. So it's like the 4th iteration of headcount planning where you continuously improve the experience of your customers. You add new integrations. So we are wrapping up this headcount planning piece. It's amazing how our customers, where most of their cost base is headcount, are really connecting with HR. They have automatic reconciliations, and they have this amazing partnership that was before broken with the people team and with some other budget owners. So headcount planning has really unlocked a lot of value for us, or actually for our customers, because you see a lot of non-finance people using the software, which is the whole point of Abacum, right? That's why we are a notebook. That's why we are very collaborative. That's why we are very easy to use, because we are the first finance software that is actually liked by non-finance people. And they have a good time exploring that. We also are betting very hard in doing more scenario planning. So again, you can do scenarios in Abacum, but we are bringing the experience to a different level. We continue our investments in AI, ML, I should say now. So what's coming in Q3, Q4 is actually ML investments for auto forecasting and a number of things. We already had that in the platform for pacing and some other functionality, but we are including more libraries, more optionality to bring that to the next level. And that's mostly it in a nutshell.
Awesome. That's awesome. So any final questions or thoughts before we jump into a demo?
Derek, any questions?
Let's do it. Let's see the system a little bit.
Yeah. Let's do this. Before we jump into the system, I would say that the FP&A category is sophisticated. You guys obviously know NetSuite very well. The combination of FP&A software, financial planning and analysis software that is modern, that is collaborative, that allows you to have all the data that you want to have at your fingertips to drive, not only those time savings and automation, but also delivering those insights to the business that allow them to make better decisions real time. It's critical for us and for what we've been building. So I wanted to leave it there before we jump into the demo. So let me see. So welcome to Abacum. These are the spaces. So this is what we call before spaces. Very quickly, this is going to be your integrations. Maybe we can take a quick tour. We have 5 minutes, so we'll try to focus on those 5-6 minutes to get it right. But this is what we've called before a space. Look, a space is a multimedia place where you can have your variables, your metrics in metric cards in a dashboard style way. You can have callouts or context around data. You can have, of course, graphs of different natures for different things, right? And then you can play with whatever you need to do here. You have, of course, other types of graphs. Look, this is a table where I think to your previous point, here you have new ARR, right? By dimension, so basic packages, professional package. You can, double click on the actuals and you could get from the deal through or the dependencies that you have in the model underneath. So just giving a sense of what a space looks like in the software. So the different reporting functionality. Let's take a quick look at the data flow, right? So you would have integrations. Going back to our conversation, it's very important to have high quality integrations. Not all integrations are born equal. So these are some of the most common that you would find in our customer base. So here, the customer, our implementation team, would connect the data. And then once the data is into the platform, then you would have your data sets coming from different data sources. So maybe we can take a quick look at that data set where you have also like some information. Everything that's in purple, it's going to be dimensions. I don't want to get too technical, but this is going to be information that you bring from the accounting data software or from Salesforce, any software really where you have integrated. The beauty of Abacum is that you go to the most granular level of data. So transactional data for accounting, but also for Salesforce, the opportunity level. Of course, then you have your dimensionality. I'm going to cut that short. But here, you build all these dimensions that you define at the data sets, and here you can manage them. You also have the versions, unlimited versions in Abacum, where you can have different cases, forecast, budget, anything you need. And then this is going to be your modeling section where you can go and model anything you need. So, for instance, we can take a quick look at your ARR model. You're going to have the build up here where this is for a SaaS business, where you have here some of the numbers, but also this is the gist of it, the formula view. So here you're mixing headcount, probably coming from Save and Boo HR, then you can segment that by position. So to your question earlier before, Josh, you are mixing in the same formula for actuals, but then also for forecasts, that variables coming from different data sources and using different formats to speed up your modeling, like for instance, ramp periods and other formulas specifically built to make this easier. And then eventually you come back to spaces again, right? To those spaces where you can, you go to the performance review, or maybe if you want to go to your ARR model or any other that you want to see here, basically. The concept of the spaces is very powerful because you have also subspaces, and then you filter every space and every data by dimension, and you can easily share that with different stakeholders in the business in a way where you can actually permission the data that you share, like salaries or different data points, in a very effective way, and gather feedback, assign tasks, ask them to input like the marketing budget and so on. So hopefully this is 5 minutes and a very quick overview of what you can get done in the platform. This goes way deeper than this, but yeah.
Perfect. And maybe just one clarifying thing for the audience. So obviously this one's tailored probably a little bit more to a software company. Something we didn't ask earlier is just, we know you work mostly middle market companies, but do you mind just touching on the primary industries you sell into?
Yeah. So we do a lot of private equity backed companies and what we call tech-enabled companies. That is SaaS, but also marketplaces, B2C companies with cohort modeling, for instance. We do mobility, blockchain, crypto, so a number of tech-enabled businesses. Private equity is a bit more nuanced. That's tech and non-tech. And then outside of non-private equity-backed companies, mostly manufacturing is something that we do for more traditional businesses.
Gotcha. Perfect. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Abacum, wants to see a full demo, wants to learn more, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, Abacum.io, and then just request a demo, and we can schedule that easily. I'm also very active on LinkedIn, so if you drop me a note, happy to go deeper into this.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Julio. This was wonderful. And Derek and I will have a quick opinion section and go from there. Well, Derek, we just saw Abacum. What do you think?
I think it was really interesting how Julio had architected the product. In my experience and in my past businesses, the mid-market is really a unique area because people are oftentimes in companies that are fast growing or changing, and their requirements are getting more and more complex in that area, and they have specific ideas of how they would like to do it. And so you can wind up in an environment where you can't use standardized reports and dashboards. They just don't work. But people don't have the time and attention and money necessary to build completely tailored reporting, dashboards, data integrations. So you kind of have to strike this balance between not being overly burdensome to get customized or tailored solutions working. And from what it sounded like, the integrations, the fact that they're all in-house integrations and built by their team or on the platform for the core solutions, the fact that you're pulling in all the raw data, not in any grouped form, and that you can then combine that data yourself and then build reports, gives it a very flexible feel, it seems like, combined with an in-house implementation team that's going to actually get the job done for you and that you can hold accountable to deliver the solution. That's, in my opinion, that's a good fit for the mid-market because the mid-market has a high expectations with a medium budget and a higher level of customization. So that would be the right mix to be able to achieve and deliver on that.
For sure. And it's interesting, like a lot of these other tools that are out there, companies are on and then realize they can't do 100% of their planning in them. So they wind up doing certain pieces of their planning in Excel. I know a software company, for example, enterprise software borderline enterprise software company, they do all their ARR planning in Excel because they can't do it in their tool. I won't say which tool it is, but it is one of the well-known ones he spoke of from, it's been around since 2001 or whatnot. And, the impetus to change can be tricky. You're just kind of used to your process, but there are newer tools out there like this one that has that backend that allows you to pull in the variety of data sources, use that operational data, and you can plan more in these tools than historicals. I think that's pretty cool. I think the other thing is, it's if I'm a buyer looking for this category of tools, and I see that there's over 200 out there, it's really confusing. It's like where do I start? I can look at Gartner for research, and that stuff's kind of all over the place. If you ask me, you can look at G2 Crowd, and that's going to be jockeyed by the software companies. But it's just hard to kind of figure out what's out there. But again, I think where these guys are differentiating themselves is really twofold. One is the variety of data sources, from being able to pull in the operational data and use it for planning. That's unique. I'm not saying there's others that don't have that, because they do, but it's very few. And just the collaborative nature. You can go through the full demo today, but there's a lot of collaboration there, which does make it really powerful and easy to kind of cross-departmentally plan. I mean, even just revenue planning, that ARR example we talked about, sales might be really on top of planning what's in the CRM or forecast, while customer success could be doing what's in churn or retention or renewals. And then accounting is doing their own revenue forecast. And now I got to consolidate, compare, contrast, all that stuff. So a lot going on there. One thing I would like to see more of that I didn't see enough of is just report building. The other tools in the market really go deep on building reports from scratch. Again, there's management style P&Ls or other reports, often with Excel integrations to do so. So I'd be curious to learn a little bit more about that and see a day in the life in the report building side. But yeah, I think that's my initial feedback.
That's great. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see as the product continues to develop and as these types of solutions in the market continue to develop, how they start to offset these older solutions, which are very much out there, but don't really have a pathway to be upgraded to be a true modern solution where you can get real-time collaboration just in the way that they were architected.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. And then for any of the viewers out there is AI in the tool. Julio didn't mention it or show it today, but they do have it. You can actually view it on their website. So it helps you with things like analysis. And I believe it's on the roadmap to help with forecasting as well. So you can check that box. Well, cool. If that's it, this was another episode of Talk SaaSy to Me. Like us, love us, subscribe to us, and we'll be back next time. Thanks so much.